But we do provide takes on more news that happened this week. So who's got some more news?
um, so what was what was up in the positive leftist news? The thing, was there an actual new video of that? Because
there is. Well, look, there is so much in there, and
we should drop the link
really
in
good.
chat.
Like, absolutely everybody should go and watch it. Like, we talk a lot about on this show about killing the doom pill, getting all that negativity out.
Really important.
That is the way that you do it. That is the way that you do it. It's so important to watch positive leftist news. I can't tell you how important it is.
I mean, like Mexi's stuff. Like, I've been saying recently how I'm pivoting my stuff to do some stuff a bit different. Like, Mexi is absolutely what I'm modeling my channel off. Like, Mexi's amazing. Yeah. She does such good work. I'm just looking in the description of the episode here to remind myself, and the topics they touch on are free Palestine, workers' rights, food security, decolonization and indigenous rights, LGBTQ rights, Black Lives Matter, fuck the patriarchy is listed as a topic, electoral wins, environmental and animal liberation, and that's all within half an hour. So, you just like take half an hour out of your day tomorrow, whatever.
Well, there's a big team. There's a big team. There's a big team who do it.
You can actually, it's a bunch of base comrades.
You can actually email. You can email Positive Leftist News with positive leftist news stories that you have found that you think.
Oh yeah, and I see it now. It's all like Harvey and Tristan and stuff like that. I didn't know that. I thought it was always just Mixie. No, that's amazing. I mean, it's like a tremendous amount of stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna say
like I say, it's from the whole of last month.
I'm gonna say
surprisingly.
Oh, sorry. I just want to quickly say you can also contact us if you find it. We are probably a smaller establishment in comparison because we are newer, but like. Feel free to reach out to us if you think that, hey, is this really good news? Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes it's like, is this lib shit or is this actually good news? But also contact us so we can like maybe feature it on stream. And if you want, we can be like, blah, 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 gave us this story. And then you could be famous just like us.
How cool would it be if instead of blah, 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 that was your name that Nicole just said?
Imagine.
The fuck?
Yeah,
that would be so poggers.
Incredible.
And very speaking of that, that's a good seg into the last piece of news. Unless anybody else has any news to chuck in.
Well, I just wanted to say,
point out there is something in the positive leftist news that is something that I was like aware of, beforehand that I completely forgot about. But the workers at Image Comics have unionized, which is awesome because I mean,
their watch
comic book workers are fucking terrible. Yeah, I mean, like they get treated so terribly. And maybe they did watch Red Planet and they were like, "Hey, good idea."
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. They are.
It's possible.
We're still trying to establish, but there's a possibility that they in fact watched Red Planet, and that's where they got the idea.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I actually, I have known people that have worked for Image before, and like. I wouldn't be surprised if it was someone, but
there you go.
We're definitely not just grasping at straws here. But but it's awesome. Because they, if you know anything about the comic industry, you know how it just chews people up and spits them out. Image have been better than a lot of the other studios. Well, since their reappearance on the scene, they've been better. So they were a company that got started back in the day, but they kind of died out for a bit, and then they went through this period a couple years back where they kind of they started getting back into like publishing in a big way again, but instead of kind of like just rehashing all their old properties, they just got a bunch of independent artists, like all these artists and writers that were indie darlings or whatever, and gave them their old like properties, like these old superheroes that were big in the 90s or whatever, and they were like, hey, look, you like person that has written a small indie comic about like lesbians at university, take this superhero and just do whatever the fuck you want about it or whatever. And then they did, and they came up with all these great things. But the best part about it is that normally when you're working for a publishing company, everything you create, regardless of whether you do it at home or at work, belongs to them. So nobody ever does their own cool shit because they're
classic.
They're like, oh, I've got this really good idea for a story, but if I tell anyone about it, they'll just make a shittier version and make Batman do it or something like that.
I think Google have that as well.
Yeah. And so even if they're at home and they're doing their own drawings, writing their own stuff or whatever, it becomes property of DC Marvel or whatever.
So messed up.
Edge were the first to actually be like, nah, just like whatever you make is yours, like whatever you do, it's all your own work. We'll publish it, we'll put it out, but you own the rights to it, And there are all these stories of like, like these creators, like I think one of them is like the dude that created what's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, the raccoon guy? I can't remember, but like the guy who wrote those
Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah. Rocket, yeah. So he I think he's disabled. He had something happened to him, and he's like paraplegic or whatever like that, and he's basically was like in a hospital for years, you know, on shitty American healthcare, barely kind of scraping through, while Marvel were making just millions, like billions of dollars, you know, money hand over fist from characters that he had created, sort of thing. And so what Image were doing kind of, you know, like was I guess like kind of like the best that they could do with their corporate structure and still be like this, you know, like what we're gonna say is like a capitalist entity, you know, whatever, to kind of help out their artists like that. But then this is even better. So this is like, you know, like they did what they were doing under their existing framework, and then this is the workers being like, actually, you know, like we think we can do better than that, unionizing. And yeah, it's like I think it was an overwhelming majority, that voted for unionization. So yeah, which is awesome, because it's kind of like that thing, right? Like these companies who have gone from being like small little, you know, whatever publishers and stuff, have become like some of like the biggest, you know, like media empires in you know, in modern entertainment. And so even though Image is small compared to like Marvel and all that kind of shit like that, I think it sets a precedent, you know, like if the Image guys do it, then maybe the DC guys will do it, you know, like if they all get together and they're like, hey, look what, you know, our friends over there got, you know, and then before you know it, awesome. You know, communism.
Before you know it, actually good comics start
but that's the other thing.
Oh god, I mean, that would be so
good for that, but it's also like these people that work into their graves and destroy their hands and bodies doing it. So, you know, all for you know, like for Disney or whatever to cut a check. So this is great.
Really briefly,
interesting.
You had a thing.
Really briefly, just to piggyback, and DJ Muel, I don't know if you remember it all what you were talking about before. I hope you wrote it down or something. But like,
I do. I've got it. I know what I'm on about.
Okay.
Thanks.
But Taylor Swift actually re-recorded one of her albums, and called it Taylor's version because of a dispute over rights. So like, there's where she like something about like a legal battle with like, you know, the rights, something. I haven't picked up on the actual details, but it was her way of trying to work around this extremely like shitty industry that was like not giving her the rights to the shit that she created. And so that's I just want to throw that out there if any of you are Taylor Swift fans.
Well, yeah, that kind of ties in actually, like the whole like Spotify thing, because that was the thing, right? Like all of her music was on Spotify, other people were profiting from it or whatever, so she re-recorded it so that, you know, she would be making money from her own work. And Spotify at the moment is a whole bunch of people are kind of like pulling this stuff from there if they're, you know, able to, because of the whole like Joe Rogan thing. And Joe Rogan's own show, they just dropped like 70 episodes because of the racism in them, like 70 episodes. And
holy shit,
this is everything,
and that's the same thing as book burning. That's book burning, actually.
It
is you're right.
All the episodes are still available elsewhere. You can still, you know, it's still perfectly accessible. But the interesting thing is that
it's 1984 is what you're saying. George Orwell talked about this.
No, it's George Orwell, Animal Crossing.
But the interesting thing is,
so this is episodes that contain things like the N-word and things like this, like overt racism, but like over the top racism. But there's still like so much just like race realism and just like full on like fascist.
Sam Harris.
There was that guy.
Where it's like they missed the point entirely, right? They just you know, they.
This is what I call like sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say they focus on these really like, it's like these are the easy shots for them, you know, like, and they're not actually being like, oh shit, we're considering.
Of course not. It's just covering their ass in the most transparent.
This is what I call like in terms of platforms trying to do any kind of approach to social justice, is what I call magic word, like magic word search, right? It's like only slurs count as actual racism or homophobia or anything like this, and there's no kind of like, you know, any other dynamic at play.
How is that sexist? I never mentioned your gender. I've never mentioned your gender. Why? That's not even sexist. That's not sexist. I never say anything about you being a woman. Come on.
A person that's good to follow who's been talking about this a lot is Max from the band Eve 6, who were like big in the 90s.
That's right. I love him.
On Twitter, he's pretty funny, but he's been like kind of, I would say, the most outspoken, like, you know, popular musician or whatever talking about it. And he's pretty funny. But so his whole thing is that their band signed the contract to the record label when they were like 16 or 17 or something, because that's when they had their first big song. Who the record label then sold on to Spotify. So even though some of their songs get over 1 million plays a month, they don't actually get any money from it. And he actually brought up the point that it's like this is a profit of child labor. You know?
Incredible.
But then and they're not allowed to remove their music or anything either. So instead, you know, like what they can do is update all of their band artwork on Spotify. So if you go to the Eve 6 page now, all of their images are like delete Spotify. Which I think is pretty great. And because Spotify have this like anti-censorship platform and stuff, they kind of just said to let them do it. But yeah, so it's pretty interesting. I think it's the tide is kind of turning on Spotify. I think a lot of people are saying like, well, what do we do? You know, do we go to the fucking Amazon service because that's shit as well?
Why are people just not using YouTube? You could just do YouTube playlists. It's the best thing ever. Like,
yeah, I think
there's
definitely a lot of people I've seen talking about actually just going back to just going to like Bandcamp and stuff and just like buying music. So with all this stuff, Bandcamp have actually reintroduced their Bandcamp Fridays, which is like I think it's the first Friday of every month where all sales go directly to the artists. So I think there's like a small fee or something like that is like, you know, like just for transactions or whatever like that, but they get a huge a much huger cut. So I would say if anyone on here is you know, like listening to music and the band is on Bandcamp, wait till Bandcamp Friday and then buy their music directly from them then. So yeah, you know, and it's like then you have the, you know, like you have the files, you have the MP3s or whatever like that, and also you're supporting the artist directly. And yeah, like in a more meaningful way than just streaming or whatever.
Yeah, I just want to clarify when I say go on YouTube, like I'm the kind of guy that has like a fucking stack of CDs in my house, right? Do you know what I mean? So if you've got the music already, do it that way, innit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely support artists.
Oh, someone's saying Muel, you had a typo in the stream title, by the way.
I do.
Oh no,
Lion is saying there's
what's your stream title?
Amy's username.
And as you will soon find out, you cannot defeat an enemy that you cannot see.